for Trump Republican, and a student Republican, Roseanne made racist comments, apologized for it, and her show was taken off the air. Joy Behar, Joy Reid, and Jimmy Kimmel make racist comments. Hello? I don't see that. I never saw that anywhere. Make racist contests. Constantly attack this administration for their beliefs in God, which is not capitalized, by the way. I'm an awful Christian. And yet they still have a platform with no recourse liberal bias. Oh my gosh. That's just so BS. I can't even begin to want to try and possibly fact check it. So the Fox News host Tucker Carlson discussed other Reid posts unearthed from the archive site, which he criticized illegal immigration and the Democratic Party, and heralded Fox Business Network host Lou Dobbs. So yeah, you see what I mean? She's not going to fit that well on MSNBC anymore. She's not that type of person. She's changed a lot since being on MSNBC, I shall say. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh, and we got a lot of stuff to get to here, as always. And here's what we got. A new CBS poll says that in 2018, if the Democrats were held today, the Democrats would win back a majority in the House, but just barely. Lucky for the Democrats, that poll indicates a way to move the needle, but it doesn't look like that poll is the Russia investigation. Oh my God. I could never have seen that coming. That's why I covered the Russia investigation obsessively on the show. I never talked about anything else, but just the Russia investigation. Everything. It's so annoying. For a party that's pretty much just looking for a wave to materialize, the Democrats aren't getting a great grade on what they're doing now. According to the CBS poll, just 48% of voters say that the Democrats are trying a lot or somewhat to address the issues they care about, which is only slightly higher than the 43% of Republicans who think they are trying to address the issues that they care about. And while 73% of the Republicans say their vote is more for the Republican Party and Donald Trump than against the Democratic Party, a roughly equal number of those who said they're voting for the Democratic Party said they're voting against Trump and the Republicans. Because there is no good option. It's still the party is the party that you pick is the lesser of two evils. Well, I'd definitely pick the Democrats every time. I'm not satisfied with the way they're doing. That doesn't mean I'm a Republican. Does not mean I'm about to go pick a Republican. It's just kind of ridiculous because you can have an opinion on the way to make better the party that you live in over time. So yeah, let's see what we got here. So I mean, what do they want? CBS asked Democratic voters specifically what they want to hear more about from the candidates, and only over 3/4, 78%, said they want the Democrats to talk more about universal health care. So that's a lot. 78% of people, I'm going to keep harping these numbers, 78% of people said they want Democrats to talk about universal health care a lot. Followed by economic opportunity, 73%, civil rights and social justice, 71%. 57% of Democrats also want to talk about legal status for DACA recipients a lot. Don't be in the Washington bubble, Democrats. Just because, the Republicans seem to have a lot of control, because they always do in Washington, doesn't mean the American people probably don't want it or won't support you when you go ask for it. It's just, whatever the issue is, you could get it passed. The American people are likely on your side. I mean, so like whenever Democrats say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about," it's a base issue. Like not even the base is really in support of it. Like the Democratic voters want to talk about healthcare. Get the liberal voters out there. You will win. So here's the interesting thing: a broader pool of voters, when asked what they want to hear candidates in general talk about, 66% of those who asked about healthcare, who said they want to hear about healthcare, said they want to hear candidates talk about a lot, and 27% said some. Only 17% said not much. Similarly, 58% of those asked about jobs and wages said they want to hear candidates talk about it a lot, and 36% of voters said some. The Russia investigation, not so much. 23% of voters want the candidates to talk about it, while a majority, 51%, said not much. This isn't exactly breaking news. Democrats won a huge election victory last year on the backs of gubernatorial candidate Ralph Northam and state legislative candidates who promised to expand Medicaid, where they which they recently achieved after 7 years of Republican obstruction, and Medicaid expansion is picking up steam in deep red states like Idaho, Utah, and Nebraska. But pretty much the point is, I mean, you gotta, like, while there is news about the Russian investigation, you can talk about the Russian investigation. If there's a pressing issue about the Russian investigation worth speaking of, you can speak of it. But every single thing the New York Times does not to be read out, have to be read out by the Sentinel. Like, things that Bernie Sanders right now are bringing up. The fact that Disney how Disney is ripping off its workers right now. Like, that's a big deal. I mean, just about the people who want to talk about jobs, 58% of those asked about wages and said that they want to hear, again, I'll repeat it, said that they want to hear candidates talk about it a lot, and 36% said some. So, yeah. This healthcare is actively winning elections for Democrats today and appears to be the way forward in November. If there's ever a time to be bold, to be progressive, to be to the left, it is now. It is so important. It's really so important. So yeah, we gotta really push for some healthcare. There is pretty much the point that I'm trying to say. So Rudy Giuliani, we all heard of him. He had a pretty rough day on TV. So we'll take a look at it. So if the goal of today's Rudy Giuliani TV appearance was to make his dumb and corrupt client look even worse, consider that mission accomplished. Giuliani spoke with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos about the Trump legal team's letter to January letter to Special Counsel Robert Mueller, which was reported by the New York Times on Saturday. The letter, among other things, said that Trump could, if he wished, terminate the inquiry or even exercise his power to pardon if he so desired. Stephanopoulos asked if he thought Trump could pardon himself. Giuliani said probably. He has no intention of pardoning himself, but he probably, not to say he can't. Giuliani said, who joined the legal team after the letter was delivered to Mueller on January 29th. So he had no role in writing the letter, but still, a lot of the same rhetoric seems to be inspired by that letter. Like, that letter was kind of a talking point brief, I guess you could say. But yeah, so the letter also said that Trump isn't readily available to be interviewed, which the Times interpreted as a warning to Mueller. Stephanopoulos asked Giuliani if that meant Trump wasn't going to sit for an interview. It doesn't mean that completely. Giuliani responded, it means that it's got to be a high bar that they have to reach the terms of convincing us that they're fair, convincing us that we are going to get the things we need. I mean, I don't know what does fair mean, apart from the completely made-up Spygate thing. In case you're not wondering, Spygate is the theory the FBI spied on Trump, which is, even conservatives right now are saying is a hoax, and is quite ridiculous. No one really seems to care. But anyway, yeah, we'll move on. So, yeah, Jay Sekulow and I want to keep an open mind, Giuliani said, of whether or not he thought Trump should sit for an interview. I just have to be honest. I mean, we're leaning towards not. Then Giuliani, who has never been a camera he didn't immediately fall in love with, managed to gin up some artificial outrage about leaks. This letter comes out, which, I mean, somebody should be looking at these leaks to find out who the heck this is. Stephanopoulos shot back that Giuliani had no evidence that the leak came from Mueller's office. It could have come from DOJ, could have come from a lawyer. I didn't do it. Jay didn't do it. Jane Raskin didn't do it. Marty Raskin didn't do it. Pat Robertson didn't do it. We didn't do it. I don't know. Is that their lawyer team? I don't know. But whatever. Pat Robertson is like the televangelist. I'm so confused. But whatever. Finally, Stephanopoulos asked Giuliani about Trump's shifting explanations, particularly with regards to Donald Trump Jr.'s statement for the New York Times last July about a meeting Don Jr. had with a Russian lawyer. The memo reported by the Times said that Trump dictated a short but accurate statement to the Times, which is dictated a short and accurate statement to the Times, which is not what the original story says. The letter also says that Trump's Jr. statement to the New York Times is a private matter. So pretty much what they have always said about this letter, that about this statement issued to the New York Times by Donald Trump, was dictated by Donald Trump and sent to the New York Times in Donald Trump Jr.'s name as a response to what happened to the Don Jr. Russia meeting investigation. Trump Tower meeting, Don Jr. Trump Tower meeting. So that response, they have always said that was written completely and entirely by Donald Trump Jr. That that letter that was leaked said, "Oh yeah, Trump dictated it." Yeah, whatever. But they probably already knew that a long time ago. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, I remember when this was first reported. Jay Sekulow was on my program. So the president had nothing to do with the nothing to do at all with that letter. Stephanopoulos said later. Sarah Sanders said, "Well, wait, he sort of weighed in, but he didn't dictate it." And now the letter from the president's lawyers was very, very clearly dictated. Say he very, very clearly that he dictated the statement. I think Jay was wrong, Giuliani responded. I mean, this is the reason you don't let the president testify. If you know, every recollection, don't ask me if that makes sense, it doesn't. Our recollection keeps changing, our recollection keeps changing, of course. What a great rebrand for lying. Like, who says that our recollection keeps changing? That's just literally called lying. The point is, Trump wrote that letter, and that's a big deal because of the implications of helping Donald Trump Jr. cover up the collusion. Probably the biggest case of collusion yet. So anyway, we turn to congressional Republicans, and last week Vice News reported that the Google search for California Republican Party listed Nazism as one of the ideologies. Since then, of course, Vice News reported that. Like, whatever. Like, they got some sort of an exclusive scoop there. Like, really, who cares? And they get an email from them. Google listed, and it's on the tag Tech Bros. It's under the tag Tech Bros. And I get this email from them like Saturday night, and it's like, Google has a fake news problem. Bum, 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 bum. And it's like, that's the music I always think of when I think of Vice. But honestly, California GOP, there's I believe pro pedophilia candidate. All right, let's see. I'm pretty sure there's literally a pro pedophilia, pro rape candidate in 2018 midterm elections. This is not a joke. But also, I do believe there's a Nazi running the Dianne Feinstein race on the Republican side. But it's not the most outrageous thing to say that the California GOP has some major ties to the Nazism. But still, it's the quote unquote knowledge panel that comes from Wikipedia, which is easily edited. And Nazism was one of the first things, which is actually kind of funny. Google responded quickly to McCarthy, explaining that this was automatically, as I just said, this is automatically processed from Wikipedia, and anyone can edit any article on Wikipedia that's not protected, which the California GOP page is now. That, however, wasn't enough for a man who's in line to become the next House Republican leader. It's disgraceful that the world's largest search engine has labeled millions of California Republicans Nazis. No, it was some prankster. It was some prankster leftist who went in and said, I'm going to edit it. It's Nazis. That's not how this works. It's the latest. This is just the latest incident in a disturbing trend to slander conservatives. These actions must be held to account. The bias has to stop. McCarthy isn't giving it up, and Vice News, and the most annoying part is here, Vice News is encouraging him. He's like, they're all ginning up this BS kind of controversy here, and it's not cool, guys. It's really not cool. I gotta be honest. It's just really not cool. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, she said individuals need to come in to testify. There needs to be transparency. There needs to be transparencies because we need to have a clear understanding. If they're controlling the feed of what people are seeing, that this is fundamentally wrong. This is an area that Congress needs to look at throughout, he added. His fellow California Republican and Trump lackey Devin Nunes, who runs the House Intelligence Committee, agreed. Shocking. He said, I hope we don't have to go there, he said on Fox News today. I don't know why I'm making him talk like a little boy, but it just seems right. I would hope that they don't get involved in politics and don't censor conservatives and Republicans, but if they continue to do it, then we obviously have to have hearings on these issues. Congressional hearings literally over